yeah, the worst is probably over,
Really?
and that it's not.
Actually, your cover talk about an interesting question where you say like, is the worst over for the housing market? And actually, when I read something like this, the only thing I can think of is, does it mean it's time to buy a house? I mean, we're in the same generation. Is it time to buy a house? I mean, when you talk to the guys who like cover this market, or they are very like, they don't really want to say.
Yeah, I think they also don't know because property is it's sort of like a lagging indicator.
Okay.
You know, you cannot foresee what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So looking at the data, it seems like the numbers have been quite steady. There is a slowdown, prices have been dropping, but it's not as severe as it was in 97, 98.
So I think when I read from what the analyst said in your cover piece, they did seem to be, they said, look, fundamentals are still intact,
Yeah.
unemployment isn't like Europe, we're still okay. But on the other hand, you do see the property guys delaying launches. But that in itself is an interesting contrast because the property guys themselves are not revising their targets. They still think we'll hit how many billion. I mean, so why do you think this sort of discrepancy?
When they say that there has been some delay and property developers are holding back launches, you can really see that the market is really bad because why would they hold back on their launches, right?
Well, I suppose there's a lot of, when you do explore the other reasons for launches as well, and I think this particular stat is very interesting, where you look at how loans applied and approved. 2013 seemed to be the peak, but after that, percentage approval dropped in 2015. Number of people put loans dropped in 15 because of the bank tightening road, because of these flippers. They actually do seem to find it harder to find a loan. Maybe that's why for the delays. Is that what you found when you were doing the research?
That is also part of the reason. Yeah, it's true that the Bank Negara safety measures have, taken a toll on the property developers because, it's true that fundamentally Malaysia is still a very it's a growing market for property, and people are still wanting to buy property. The demography is still growing. But at the same time, because of the tightening measures, a lot of these people just cannot secure loans. So, and this is one of the reasons of the slowdown of the property market as well. It's not just because of the slowdown in the economy itself, but because of the tightening measures by Negara.
And the analysts, when you talk to them, did they seem hopeful?
For some sectors, yes. Especially the affordable housing sector.
Okay.
Because, they are saying that the high-end ones, those in the price bracket of 1 million
and
to
above.
1 and above, they are really doing very bad,
Okay.
because doesn't seem to have a lot of traction in that market.
Okay.
But for the affordable housing segment, it's still launches around the 400,000 ringgit per unit is still doing very, very good.
Well, you do see a lot of property developers saying they will be going into this while keeping their high-end stuff as well. Okay, do you think that Malaysians, after doing all your research, we buy names as well? Do you think so?
I don't think so.
Really?
Yeah, it's more.
There has to be some kind of twinge when you see like Eco World or SP Setia. There is, right?
There are some followings. Of course, these brands. There are some group of people who follow brands, but property is still very much a need rather than a want in this market. So you look for the best offer out there.
All right, needs and wants.
Yeah.
Affordable housing. You've got a gigantic story on it as well. So Prima, all of this. But the thing is, we've seen reports on how the supply is not enough. Are people just ramping up? Is this where they're going to be focusing? Is this where the war is going to be?
That's the funny thing, though. It's not.
It's not?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot. By saying that, there's a lot of developers trying to get into the affordable market, but it's not enough. The demand outstrips the supply.
Okay.
And property developers, they like to say that their products are affordable, but actually it's not. So there is a mismatch,
Okay.
between what they offer and what the market can actually afford.
But you see, although you talk about mismatch and affordable housing, ultimately the point of affordable housing is that so everybody can get a house. But you've seen cases of people, they don't really need the house, they just want to rent it out. I mean, isn't this hurting that kind of market?
It's actually quite healthy as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because
Really?
there are people who cannot even afford to buy a house, so they rent.
Okay.
Yeah, so if there are no people buying houses for rent, then renters cannot rent. I mean,
Okay.
yeah.
So ultimately, back to your question, bottomed out, really?
We'll have to see what's happening with the unemployment numbers, because what happened in 97, 98 when the property market really crashed, it was because of a spike in unemployment rate. Yeah, more than anything else, because people just couldn't buy anything at all.
For more on the stories, pick up a copy of The Edge Weekly at all good newsstands.